The Alari Council chamber was quiet, too quiet for the kind of trouble that had arrived in the system. Leora stood at the edge of the high platform, looking out through the crystal windows at the burning sky. Shards of metal and rock floated slowly down from the damaged defense stations above the planet. Smoke curled into the sky, red and dark. The Council had never faced anything like this before. "We have lost 3 worlds," Council member Renka said, her voice trembling. "Millions of our people are gone. The Kren are moving faster than we can prepare. We cannot wait any longer," Leora said. She turned to face the Council. "We must find help, or we will be next." Another Council member, Yelen, stepped forward. He was an older Alari, with pale green skin and long, thin fingers. "I have searched every record of the galaxy," he said. "All the nearby species are either too weak or already threatened. We have no allies left to call." "And what about humans?" asked a younger Council member, Sithara. Her voice was sharp. "The species from the Death World?" A shiver ran through the chamber. Humans were legendary. The Alari had discovered their world centuries ago. It had been so harsh, so dangerous, that the Alari had labeled it a death world and closed all records. Humans had survived extreme weather, deadly animals, earthquakes, disease, and war. They were strong, stubborn, and dangerous. Many Council members had argued that humans should never be contacted. The risk of inviting humans into Alari space had always seemed a great. Jalen nodded. "The records are here," he said. "They survived storms that could destroy cities, animals that could kill 100 at once, and sicknesses that ended entire populations. They are dangerous, yes, but also resilient. And they are clever. There is a chance. We might survive if they help us." A murmur ran through the chamber. Some Council members shook their heads. Others leaned forward. "Dangerous and clever is not enough," said one of the oldest Council members. "Malek, they might help, yes, but what if they decide we are easier to conquer than the Kren?" "We have no choice," Leora said firmly. "If we do nothing, the Kren will destroy us all. Even if the humans are dangerous, they might be our only hope." The Council fell silent. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, Renka nodded. "We will do it," she said. "We will reach out to the humans. But we must be careful. We must send the message without appearing weak or desperate." Preparations began immediately. The Alari vessel Dawn Seeker was brought to the launch bay. It was a long, elegant ship, designed for speed and long-range travel. Leora, Rena, a young officer, and Vorin, a technical specialist, boarded the ship. The air inside smelled faintly of ozone and oil. The hum of the engines made a steady rhythm that seemed to calm Leora's nerves. "Are you ready?" Rena asked, her voice soft. She had trained for years, but never imagined facing a challenge like this. "As ready as we can be," Leora said. She looked at the stars outside. "We do not know if the humans will answer. We do not know if they will help. But we have to try." The Dawn Seeker launched from the station with a smooth surge. Faster than light engines ignited, stretching the stars into long streaks of color. The Council chamber on the home planet shrank until it disappeared. The ship was alone in the vast black of space, carrying the last hope of the Alari. Weeks passed in silence. The crew monitored the stars and the empty space around them. Leora and Rena studied maps and sensor readings. Vorin worked tirelessly to check communications channels and verify their codes. Then, one day, the sensors picked up a signal. It was faint, distant, but unmistakably intelligent. A human system. The data was old, recorded during first surveys of human space. But the coordinates matched a system with multiple habitable planets and large fleets. "They are real," Rena whispered. "Humans are real," Leora nodded. "And now we must hope they remember us as anything more than a story." The Dawn Seeker approached the human system. Automatic defenses lit up the dark, scanning for threats. A fleet of ships, large and small, moved like predators, ready to strike anything that seemed unusual. "Prepare identification codes," Leora ordered. "We cannot risk being attacked before we explain ourselves." A human officer appeared on the screen. His face was calm but firm, with tired eyes that had seen too much. "This is Captain Daniel Cole of the United Human Fleets," he said. "You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves." Leora's voice was steady. "I am Leora, a member of the Alari Council. We are peaceful. We come with a message of urgent importance. Our species is under attack by the Kren Empire. We request aid." The human captain studied them for a long moment. The screen showed no emotion, only focus. "You say your species is under attack," he said finally. "Why have you waited until now to call for help?" "We had no one to call," Leora said honestly. "We tried all others. We are afraid the Kren will destroy everything we love. We have no choice but to ask for humans. We know of your species, but contact was forbidden. Now, it is our only hope." The captain was silent for several moments. Then he said, "We will escort you to a neutral orbit. There we will discuss your request." The Dawn Seeker followed human ships into orbit. The Alari crew felt tense. The humans were larger, stronger, and more numerous than anything they had imagined. Every system was guarded, every planet protected. The Alari realized how serious humans were about defense. On the diplomatic ship where they would meet humans face to face, Leora met Ambassador Claire Rogers and Commander Ethan Ward. Claire smiled gently, trying to make the aliens feel safe. Ethan stood quietly, scanning the room, his posture tight and alert. Leora sensed a controlled danger in him, a warning that humans were not to be underestimated. "Welcome to human space," Claire said. "We are listening." Leora told them everything. The Kren attacks, destroyed worlds, the deaths of millions, the desperation of the Alari. She admitted that humans had once been labeled too dangerous to contact, that they were now the last hope. Claire nodded. "You are honest," she said, "and we respect that. Humans do not respond well to lies or fear. But honesty alone does not guarantee help." Ethan's eyes were sharp. "We need to know specifics," he said. "Fleet sizes, weapons, technology. The Kren are clever. We do not make plans blindly." Leora shared all the information they had, careful not to exaggerate. Ethan studied the data silently, then nodded. Claire looked at Leora with concern. "We will consider your request," she said. "But understand, humans do not fight halfway. If we commit fully." Leora swallowed hard. She had heard stories of human courage and recklessness, but seeing it in person was different. She felt hope, tinged with fear. These beings were unpredictable, dangerous, and relentless, but maybe, just maybe, they were exactly what the Alari needed. The Dawn Seeker rested in orbit, waiting for the humans' decision. Outside, stars stretched into the distance, quiet and indifferent. Leora looked at them and whispered, "May the Deathworlders decide to help us, or all is lost." The first step had been taken. The Council had chosen humanity, the human fleet had acknowledged them, and a fragile hope was beginning to grow. But the story was only beginning, and the universe would soon see what it meant when Deathworlders met desperate allies in need. And so, the Alari waited, hearts heavy with fear, minds alive with hope, and eyes fixed on the strange, powerful, and deadly humans who might save them or change the galaxy forever. The humans moved quickly. Within the first hours, the Alari delegation was escorted to a larger human command station. The station was vast, filled with ships docked in every direction. Massive engines hummed, and lights blinked across consoles. Leora and Rena walked slowly, their eyes wide at the human efficiency and scale. They had expected some strength, but this was more than they imagined. Ambassador Claire Rogers greeted them as they entered a high-ceilinged chamber. Her calm voice filled the room. "Welcome. We have reviewed your initial messages. Now we need more details to make a decision." She gestured to a table where humans and Alari could sit together. Ethan Ward remained standing at the back, his posture strict. His eyes scanning everyone in the room. Leora began again, explaining the Kren's tactics, the speed of their attacks, and the destruction of Alari defense stations. She described how entire planets had fallen in days, leaving millions dead. She emphasized that no other species could stand against the Kren alone. She did not hide their fear, but she also did not beg. Claire listened carefully, occasionally asking a question. "You say your fleets are weak. she said. "Why were you unable to defend yourselves?" Leora explained that their species had always been peaceful, relying on diplomacy and alliances. They had no true military culture and no experience against a violent, fast-moving empire. Ethan spoke finally. His voice was calm but firm. "We need to know the specifics of the enemy. What kind of ships? How many weapons? Their tactics?" Leora nodded, handing over the sensor data. The humans studied it silently, their faces unreadable. Rena watched them closely. She noticed the precision in their movements, the careful attention to every detail. These were not simple soldiers. They were observers, planners, and thinkers all at once. After a long pause, Claire finally said, "We will consider helping you, but understand that humans do not fight halfway. If we commit fully." Leora felt both relief and worry. Humans were powerful, but their intensity was something else. She had read about it in the old records. Now she saw it in person. She knew that having humans as allies meant survival, but it also meant the universe would change in ways the Alari could not predict. The humans began preparations quickly. Shipyards lit up with activity. Human engineers worked alongside Alari engineers, sharing technology and ideas. Humans explained their warship design, showing how their vessels could endure extreme damage, and how their pilots were trained to survive situations that would destroy other species' ships. Rena was invited to observe a training session. She watched human soldiers endure physical tests in a harsh simulation room. They carried heavy loads, ran through fire, and faced simulated attacks without hesitation. Yet, when breaks came, they joked and laughed. Rena did not understand it. She asked a soldier nearby, a young man named Oliver, why they laughed after such danger. He smiled. "Fear is real," he said, "but laughing keeps it from controlling you. It keeps you human." Rena thought about that. The human strength was not just in their bodies or weapons, it was in their minds, their courage, and their loyalty to each other. She felt a mixture of awe and fear. Meanwhile, Leora worked with Claire and Ethan to plan a joint strategy. They mapped out Kryn-controlled systems and discussed ways to strike without unnecessary loss. Ethan suggested daring maneuvers that the Alari had never imagined. His ideas were risky, but they had a precision and logic that made sense. Vorn, the technical specialist, marveled at the human technology. He had studied countless species, but humans combined simplicity with extreme adaptability. Every system had backups, every function had redundancy. If a device failed, humans found a way to fix it immediately, often in ways no alien technology could predict. Admiral Nathan Harris joined the discussions later. He was older, with scars on his face and hands that told of past battles. He spoke with calm authority. "We understand your need," he said. "Humans know what it is to stand alone. We have survived more than any species in this sector. But we also know that if we fight, we do it completely. Partial commitment is useless against the Kryn." Leora realized that humans were unlike any ally they could have imagined. They were unpredictable, yes, but their unpredictability was paired with unmatched courage and stubbornness. They would not give up, and they would not hesitate to protect those they chose to protect. The Alari delegation was invited to a simulation of battle strategies. Human pilots demonstrated maneuvers using holographic projections. They twisted, rolled, and flipped through asteroid fields, taking hits and continuing as if nothing had happened. Rena watched, heart pounding, as human ships executed maneuvers she had never thought possible. They seemed fearless, almost reckless, yet precise in every move. Leora asked, "How do they survive such risks?" Oliver answered, "They adapt. They learn fast, and they care for each other. Survival is not just for themselves, it's for everyone in their unit." The days passed quickly. The Alari observed, learned, and shared what they could. A plan began to form. Humans and Alari would fight together. Human ingenuity combined with Alari technology might be the key to facing the Kryn. The Alari had never seen such determination, such willingness to face impossible odds for the sake of others. One evening, Rena walked on the observation deck of the station, looking out at the stars. The humans around her were calm, even as the system prepared for war. She thought about the stories of the Deathworlders, how they had survived storms, wild beasts, and deadly diseases. She realized now that the human strength was deeper than any story could tell. It was in their courage, their stubbornness, and their loyalty. Liora joined her. "We have chosen wisely," she said softly. "These humans may be the only ones who can stand against the Kryn, but we must remember they are not like us. They will fight differently, think differently, and they will surprise us in ways we cannot imagine." Rena nodded. "I understand, but I also feel hope. If they fight with us, maybe we can survive. Maybe we can even win." Liora smiled faintly. "Hope is a powerful thing, Rena, and right now, we need every bit of it." The next day, human ships began joint exercises with Alari ships. They practiced communication, joint maneuvers, and coordinated attacks. Rena and other Alari officers observed, learning how to follow human commands while contributing their own knowledge. It was difficult at first, but slowly, the teams began to work together. The humans respected the Alari knowledge, and the Alari learned to trust the humans' instinct for survival and strategy. Ethan showed them how human ships could enter dangerous zones, take hits, and continue fighting. He explained every decision, every maneuver, emphasizing adaptability and teamwork. Liora watched, realizing that this combination of skill, courage, and loyalty was exactly what they needed to face the Kryn Empire. As night fell, the station lights reflected off the ships in orbit. Liora, Rena, and Vorin stood together, looking at the growing fleet. The humans were preparing for war, and so were the Alari. They had taken the first steps toward an alliance that could change the galaxy. The legend of the Deathworlders was no longer a story. It was real, alive, and ready to face the darkness that threatened the stars. And somewhere deep inside, Liora felt a strange mix of fear and hope. The humans were powerful, relentless, and unpredictable. They might be their salvation, or they might bring new dangers. But for the first time in many long cycles, the Alari believed that they had a chance. The humans had heard their call, and now, humanity was waking to the threat of the Kryn. The first moves of a deadly and historic alliance were set in motion. The humans had made their decision. The Council of Commanders and leaders approved sending a fleet to help the Alari against the Kryn. Liora and her team were informed early in the morning, with the sun rising over the station's massive docking bays, reflecting off the hulls of the ships. The Alari had never seen such organization. Humans moved like a single body, each part knowing what the other would do. Ambassador Claire Rogers greeted the Alari as they entered the planning chamber. "We will help," she said calmly. "But you must understand, humans do not fight halfway. If we commit fully." Ethan Ward stepped forward, pointing to the star map. "We will need your help to plan our first moves. We want to hit the Kryn where they least expect it. Surprise is our advantage, but preparation is key." Liora nodded. She and her officers shared all information they had on Kryn fleets, technology, and their strategies. The humans listened closely, asking precise questions. They wanted exact numbers, weapons ranges, fleet movements, and the timing of attacks. The Alari had never faced this level of attention to detail. In the shipyards, preparations began. Human engineers oversaw construction of new ships, repairing old ones, and adding Alari technology. They combined shields and sensors with strong hulls and adaptable engines. Liora watched as the humans worked together with the Alari technicians. There was a sense of urgency, but also confidence. Humans did not panic under pressure, they thrived. Rena was invited to observe human training exercises. She stood on the observation deck as human soldiers went through a grueling obstacle course. They carried heavy weights, moved through smoke and fire, and faced simulated attacks without hesitation. Yet during breaks, they laughed and joked. It confused her. She asked Oliver, the young soldier she had met before, why they did not fear the challenges. "Fear is real," he said simply, "but it does not control us. We train to face it, and we support each other. Survival is not just about yourself. It is about everyone in your team." Rena nodded slowly. She began to understand the strength of humans. It was not just in their bodies or weapons, it was in their minds, their courage, and their loyalty to each other. Meanwhile, Leora worked with the humans to plan the first joint mission. The humans suggested daring strategies, using asteroids, nebulae, and debris fields as cover. Alari technology provided precise shields and sensor data, helping human pilots navigate dangerous spaces. Ethan explained tactics that combined speed, adaptability, and controlled risk. The Alari were impressed by his logic, but also nervous about the risks he suggested. Vorn spent long hours in the data rooms, learning human tactics and technology. He marveled at how humans combine simplicity with adaptability. Every system had backups, every operation had contingency plans. If a ship failed, human crews knew exactly what to do, improvising solutions that other species would never imagine. Admiral Nathan Harris met with Leora to discuss the joint strategy. He was older, his face and hands marked with scars from previous battles. "We understand your need," he said. "Humans know what it is like to stand alone against stronger foes. But you must understand, we will commit completely. There is no partial effort. Either we fight together, or we do not fight at all." Leora realized that this was both reassuring and frightening. Humans were powerful, relentless, and fully committed. They were not like the Alari or most species. If they joined the fight, it would change the war entirely and perhaps change the galaxy forever. The Alari delegation observed a series of war simulations. Human pilots demonstrated complex maneuvers, twisting and flipping through asteroid fields, taking damage and continuing without hesitation. Rena watched, heart pounding, as human ships executed moves she had never thought possible. Their courage was almost reckless, yet every move was precise and coordinated. Leora asked Oliver, who was present during the demonstration, how the humans survived such risks. "Adaptability," he said simply. "We learn fast and we rely on each other. Survival is never for one person, it is for the whole team." The following days were filled with preparation. Human engineers and Alari technicians worked together, combining knowledge and improving ships. Soldiers trained with alien forces, learning to communicate and coordinate. Rena began to understand the rhythm of human strategy. It was chaotic at times, but always effective. Leora joined Ethan and Admiral Harris in the command room, studying the star maps. They identified Kren-controlled systems, supply lines, and weak points. Ethan suggested fast, unexpected strikes that would force the Kren to react, while human and Alari ships coordinated for maximum efficiency. Leora realized that humans thought differently than her people. They valued risk, courage, and adaptability, and trusted instincts as much as plans. In one late-night session, Rena observed human soldiers laughing while repairing their damaged equipment. She asked a young human named Mia why they seemed so relaxed even after facing danger. "We laugh to remember we are alive," she said. "It keeps fear from controlling us. It keeps us focused and strong." Rena felt something shift inside her. The human strength was more than physical or technological. It was mental, emotional, and social. They had survived harsh worlds and endless war, yet they still protected each other, laughed together, and cared for their teammates. Leora and her team met with human commanders again. Ethan explained their plan to strike at a key Kren system. He emphasized speed, adaptability, and surprise. Human ships would lead the attack, using unconventional maneuvers and risk-taking strategies. Alari ships would support with advanced shields, sensors, and coordinated firepower. The Alari officers practiced the new strategies with human pilots. Communication was difficult at first, but they slowly learned to trust each other. Humans respected Alari knowledge, and Alari learned to follow human instincts. Rena felt a growing sense of confidence. Humans were dangerous, yes, but they were also loyal and focused. One evening, Leora and Rena stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. The fleet was growing, readying for war. Humans moved with confidence and determination, preparing for the battle ahead. The Alari had never seen such strength and discipline. They realized that the humans were not only powerful allies, but also unpredictable forces that could change the outcome of the war. Leora turned to Rena. "We have chosen wisely," she said. Humans may be our only chance to survive, but we must remember they are not like us. They will fight differently, think differently, and they will surprise us in ways we cannot imagine. Rena nodded. I understand, but I also feel hope. If they fight with us, maybe we can survive. Maybe we can even win. Leora smiled faintly. Hope is powerful, Rena, and right now, we need every bit of it. The next day, humans and Alari began joint exercises. They practiced communication, maneuvers, and coordinated attacks. Rena and other Alari officers observed, learning to follow human commands while contributing their own knowledge. Progress was slow but steady. The humans taught them to trust instinct as well as plan, to rely on teamwork above all else. Ethan demonstrated how human ships could survive damage, continue fighting, and adapt to unexpected situations. Leora realized that the combination of human courage and Alari technology could be the key to surviving the Kren Empire. She felt a mixture of relief and fear, knowing that their allies were powerful. But their unpredictability could also bring danger. As night fell over the station, the stars stretched into the distance. Leora, Rena, and Vorn stood together, watching the growing fleet of humans and Alari preparing for war. The Alliance was no longer just a planet, it was real. The Deathworlders had awakened. The universe would soon see what it meant when humans chose to fight for those in need. The first moves of a deadly and historic alliance were now in motion, and the future of the galaxy would never be the same.